Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast number 1899. The topic is mindset, and the title is Forgetting the Now. So I had a funny moment today that prompted today's podcast. In the past few months, I've been pushing very hard, overextending myself basically, for a business transition and to adjust the approach in which I'm using to work with my clients. What I want to do is be able to work with more people but not lose the quality of the service. So I've been very blessed to have people reach out and wanting to work together, but I've gotten back to where I've been many times, is trying not to say yes where it overextends me to the quality of what I can do, but I don't want to have to say no to people. That's not fun. So I am working on multiple goals and multiple ways in which I'll be able to do that. And you'll hear about those and see those in the upcoming 6 to 12 months. But I am addressing it. And in the short term of addressing it, I've been pushing really hard to get that change over while balancing other aspects of life, such as, time and quality of relationship with my wife, Meredith, family and friend relationships, running the gym, supporting the growth and transitions that Meredith and I are both going through. So there's just normal everyday crap you have to do. Then there's the things you want to be able to sustain and maintain in various aspects of life. And then you often will have areas you're trying to progress, but then maybe one area you're trying to progress the most. You very quickly can just run out of yourself to give. And that does happen. So I'm working to maintain that balance while trying to really, really push into my top priority. So through all the busyness, I have been able to become closer and closer to my goal. And that's been, you can say that started when I was 18. You can say it started when I opened the gym. The most recent push has been the last 3 or 4 months. But I am getting closer and closer and closer. And that's kind of the main things I want in life, is to have an amazing relationship with my soulmate. So I want to do everything and anything that I can to grow that. And then also to fulfill what I believe was a gift that God, so I'm Christian belief, and I believe that God gave me a gift when it comes to nutrition and training. I absolutely love it. I've loved it since I've been 15 years old, and I understand it relatively well. I would say so myself. And it's what I love doing. I've been able to help a lot of people over the years through that type of knowledge, and not only just physically help them, but emotionally and mentally help them. And that's what I love the most. And I feel as though, being as intensely interested as I've been since 15 years old, and to be proficient at it, like pretty good at it, I feel is a gift from God. So I want to honor that gift to its fullest extent. I want to be able to do what I do as a job, which I've been very blessed to also enjoy, at the absolute top level that I can do, help as many people as I can as a show of thanks towards God for that gift. So those are kind of my big things, is, the amazing relationship with Meredith, and then fulfilling God's gift. And although I am making progress in those areas, I do often find myself forgetting to enjoy the progress that I've made to this point. So I get so busy striving for the next thing that I forget to enjoy the things I have around me. And today I actually had a moment where I was able to decide what to do with 2 hours that became kind of free for me. We thought we had an appointment, but it was canceled for us by the person that said it. They had to cancel it. So then all of a sudden Meredith and I had 2 extra hours free. Now, she had stuff she wanted to do for work that she needed to get done on a deadline, so she was busy doing that. And then I thought to myself, well, what do I do with those 2 hours? Now, thankfully, I already have these kind of moments pre-planned. So I have priorities set, and I will go to that list and see what's been unaddressed. And so far in the day, I've addressed my biggest things. So I was kind of left with decisions that all seemed equal. They seemed good. They seemed as though any of the choices would be a good choice. So, for example, I got a workout in before we were scheduled to leave for the appointment, but it was a shortened version of the workout. So I could go back and kind of finish that. Maybe I could record an extra podcast, to get ahead of the weekend. I try to record podcasts Monday through Friday, so I don't have to record on Saturday and Sunday and just enjoy those days with Meredith. So I could do that. I could record an extra podcast. I could write a client program that I already know how to write. I know what they're going to need starting next week, so maybe I could get that done. Or maybe I could bring my client check-ins up a day. So I try to check my clients' online journals at least once a week. I try not to let it go past 7 days that I have checked their journal. Now, I get notifications anytime they write anything in there, so I see if there's anything urgent, plus all of them they all have my phone number, so they can text me if anything's urgent. But my regular check-ins, I try to get in at least every 7 days. So if I have clients that say 6 days or 5 days, I could go catch the 6 and 5s and bring everybody up to 4 days. That would be a good decision. I could go through and answer business emails that I just star and put off till Thursday or Friday or the following Monday. I could go through that. I could make some business calls. I could check in with family and friends via text or even call somebody that I haven't maybe talked to in a while. None of these choices would be bad choices. They're all good. And in the moment when I was trying to think of what to do, I thought to myself, well, when is the last time you enjoyed where you are? And it was interesting that just kind of the concept popped into my mind at that time. So rather than thinking of, what can I do next that gets me ahead? I can think, what can I do next that enjoys where I am? Have I taken the time to just enjoy where I am, where I've gotten to, rather than always focusing on where to go to next? And I think we all often get lost in chasing the future that we sometimes forget to enjoy the present. So I look back at that list and I thought, well, what are you doing all this for? Of all the things you could choose to do, why would you choose them? So it goes back to my top priorities. Like, could I support and love Meredith in this moment? Could I honor God's gift in this moment? Could I just enjoy my life more? Do something in this moment that enjoys where I am? So I wrote and left a little surprise note for Meredith in the kitchen that she'll find later. And I finished my workout. So I'm actually recording this after the workout. I finished my workout and I used that time to actually make an educational video for a client. So I make videos for clients, throw them up on unlisted on YouTube, and then send them the link. And that's a great way to kind of do teaching videos privately and kind of in a personal touch for my clients. So it was fun. I got to finish my workout. I got to use God's gift and help somebody. I got to leave a note for Meredith. So I kind of I got to the end of those 2 hours, and I looked back and I was like, wow, it was kind of fun. And that was a neat feeling for me to get to the end of the 2 hours and feel fulfilled with how I spent those 2 hours. So I often get focused on getting ahead that I forget to enjoy where I am. And I wanted to share that idea through today's podcast to help encourage others to pause and to think of that same concept. In the hustle and bustle of the day, we do need to work to get ahead. But it's also helpful to remember to do something each day that enjoys where you are. Now, ways I do this, because I have it scheduled in various ways, but I play a random question game with Meredith all the time. So at the end of the day, I'll check in with her and see how her day went, listen to, if she had any stories or any kind of keynotes or key moments in the day. But after that conversation, if we're sitting later in the night or we're driving somewhere, I'll often ask her just random questions. And it's fun because I like just getting to hear her talk and see her creative thought process of things. So the other day we were talking about, would you rather be able to play, all the instruments in the world or be able to speak all the languages in the world? And her and I both chose languages. We thought that would be really cool. And then I said, well, at how many languages would it change over to music? Meaning, right now we're going all musical instruments versus all languages. What if it was all musical instruments versus 6 languages, or 5 languages, or 4 languages, or 3 languages, or 2 languages? I said, how down in languages would we have to go for you to then choose musical instruments? And we were laughing, and we both thought the musical instruments would be fun. And me being in business mind, I was thinking, okay, well, if I could play all the musical instruments in the world, I can make YouTube videos, make a lot of money, and be able to help, support us and make a great life and things. So I was laughing at it. And she was thinking, she likes music, but she's not really super passionate about playing it. She enjoys listening to it, and she's been doing dance for 20-some years of her life. So she likes dancing to music, but she's not super interested in playing music. So she was kind of discounting the musical part, where I was counting it higher because I was thinking of the ways I could use to make money for it. But it was fun that we just started talking about that. And to me, that is a way in which I get to enjoy Meredith in those moments and just have fun talking about random things that turn into fun discussions. Sometimes they stay random. Sometimes we get into deeper details and talk about life. I enjoy that. That's one of the things I very much enjoy. That is a very moment-based experience. Another idea is I'll send memes to friends. I think we all do this. So if I find a meme that I laugh at, I try to not annoy the crap out of everybody I know, but I try not to just laugh and then scroll on. I'll laugh and then go, oh, who else might laugh at this? And then I try to send it to them. And that's fun. That's just a fun little kind of momentary reminder to share laughter into someone else's day. And then that grows our relationship, maybe not at a super deep level, not as deep as talking to them for an hour on the phone, but it at least keeps that connection and it pushes things a little bit progresses things. So I have clients and friends send me memes and, Instagram and WhatsApp and TikTok and all these things. They'll send me things, and it's fun to know that they were thinking of me or to ask me a question, which I actually enjoy. But that's a way to stay connected with people and kind of enjoy the moment you're in. I'll also set a timer and scroll through equipment posts on social media. So I one of my little fun things that I like to do is just look at the evolution of gym equipment, whether that's for home gyms or commercial gyms, whatever it might be. It's just fun to see all the new pieces of equipment that people are coming out with, the new uses for existing pieces of equipment. It's really fun to scroll through and see that kind of content. Now, very quickly, you can get into what's called, I believe it's called doom scrolling, where you're an hour of scrolling. So I set a timer. It kind of depends on the day. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 10 or 15. But I'll set a timer and scroll through a little bit. And that's something that gets me to stop and just enjoy where I am. And I'll often find that after 15 minutes of doing that, when I get back into progressive mindset activities, I'm kind of more fired up or a little more focused. So it's helpful to kind of detach for a second, give my brain kind of a lazy way to recover, but stay interested in something. And then I'll come back and feel fired up and more motivated. You can also go for a walk. You can get some extra movement for the day. So I tend to do that. I'll go do an extra, we have a Bowflex, a couple other pieces of cardio, and I'll maybe go do a lazy bout of cardio for 10, 20 minutes. And that's a good way for me just to get my heart rate up, get elevated, get moving, to enjoy the moment. Often I have very creative thought processes. I notice that a lot when I drive, is I'll have very creative thoughts because I finally slow down. And that's super helpful to do. But those are ways in which I regularly try to pause and try to enjoy where I'm at. And I would encourage you to do that if you don't do that on a regular basis, or if you just haven't been aware that you haven't been doing it. Encourage you in your day, or as many days as you can, to do something that day that celebrates and uses what you have, where you are and what you have. So we likely have worked really hard to get where we are. And in the process of getting where we are, we continually think of where we're wanting to be. And along that process, it's like a moving finish line. So you're running a race, but the finish line continues to move forward and forward and forward and forward. You never get to a point where you go, here I am. I made it. Look how amazing this is. Let me enjoy and have fun with everything that I have around me. We're often so focused on that finish line that continues to move that we forget to enjoy the things that are around us. And I've noticed that for sure in my life. And I thought it might be nice to raise awareness to that and encourage others to be aware of the same thing, is make sure that you're enjoying where you've worked so hard to be while you're pursuing where you want to go. It's definitely good to have that pursuit, but it's also good to balance that with enjoying where you are. Okay, that was it. Just some general thoughts, just trying to encourage you to not forget the now, to enjoy the now. If you need anything or want anything, just shoot me an email at brutalirongym@gmail.com. If you like the podcast, please share the podcast. If you like the podcast, please consider donating to support the podcast, which you can do on our website. Also, if you like the information we share in the podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels. You can find us and follow us on Instagram and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.